Good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone today? Looking rather bright in my blue t-shirt today. I didn't bring my black one as usual. So everyone, good afternoon. How is everyone doing? Can you all hear me? And obviously more importantly, can you hear Louise?
Can you hear me?
She's a bit cool at the moment, aren't you? A bit cold.
It's chilly, isn't it?
It is chilly. I'm absolutely boiling hot.
Are you?
I'm
My hands are cold. I feel cold.
boiling hot. Oh, bless you. I have to warm you up later.
Okay.
Good. I'm glad everyone's here. We're doing well. Excellent. Loud and clear. Thank you, Amco. Very kind of you. So, on time-ish today. Not too bad. Yes, this is a bit bright, isn't it? This, I'm not quite too sure.
Deafening.
It's deafening. Let's zoom in on this a bit. There we go. That's a bit better. All right. Good. Anything to report, Louise, today?
I don't think so.
No. It's been pretty an uneventful couple of days, isn't it, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've literally got nothing to say.
The only thing that we do have to say is that we've been very busy today, which meant we haven't managed to get out the emails for the workshop that is next Monday. And next Monday is all about photographic... What are they called?
Photography equipment?
Yes, primarily.
Light boxes.
Light boxes, that's it, yes. So next Monday, we're going to be talking all about photographic light boxes.
So what light boxes do we have?
We have a few to play around with, and we're going to have like a chapter on each. I think we've got the Gem Light Box Pro, so we're going to be showing that. It's not to everyone's taste. That is the most expensive.
Yeah.
We've come down to a Light Tech, which is the one down in the corner, the black one in the corner there.
I didn't know we had another one.
We had another one. That's called Light Tech. We've had that for quite a few years. So Light Tech. Then we're also going to be going through some very cheap options as well that are literally 20, 30 pounds. Coming down to absolutely the most basic, simple setups that you can do in your own workshop.
Yeah, good. What about the macro lens, not the macro lens,
The loop.
the gem loop?
The gem loop. I couldn't find that. I was going to take some photographs
I know
today.
exactly where that is.
Okay, so yes, we're looking at the gem loop as well. So we're going from the most basic setup to the most expensive. There are others that do like 360s and all that sort of thing, and far more expensive. But we're going from around about $2,000 down to about $2, basically. And all the light boxes in between, and it's going to be showing you how we take those photographs using those particular light boxes, using software that is available specifically for the light boxes, and simple photography based upon your camera and a certain app that you can buy to get really good professional looking photographs. Unfortunately we haven't got daylight because we've blocked off these windows, so we can't use the natural daylight scenario, but we've got plenty of lights around the place that we're going to use, and if we can do it throughout the whole day and the whole night using those pieces of equipment, brilliant. We don't have to rely upon daylight. Some people do. That's about it, and that's next Monday. Yeah.
Okay, so when will we get the emails out for that?
Emails will be going out tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Just
okay,
been doing
good.
some little still shots today. A bit slow getting them out. Do apologise, it's been rather busy.
Yeah, if by Wednesday or Thursday you haven't had an email or you haven't been able to sign up for the workshop and it's something that you want to do, please get in touch with me.
Yes.
Before Friday, ideally, isn't it?
Ideally before Friday.
Because sometimes I get emails at like 1:45, or literally
2 o'clock,
as the
2:15.
workshop's starting, and there's not an awful lot I can do then, unfortunately. So yeah, let me know nice and early if you...
We need to get in early,
Yeah.
don't we?
Yes, please.
So that'll be going out. And don't forget, if you are an At The Bench member, a paid member of At The Bench, it is going to be £15. No, it's not. If you're a paid member of At The Bench, it's free. It's included with your membership. And if you're not a paid member of At The Bench, it's a simple £15, which is about $18, $19, something like that. And you have lifetime access to that if you pay for it. Cool. Haven't got the little logo, Louise, up on the top left-hand corner here.
No. Okay, I don't think you're going to
press connect.
I don't think you're going to have that today.
Wait, there we go. Now you can drag it. Yes.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
Well done. So that's about it. Anything else we need to say before we start the Q&A? I don't think so.
Susan HP is saying time for a marathon. They're called Snickers now.
They're called Snickers, yes. Yes, so don't forget, Louise and I are doing the Cardiff Half Marathon next year.
Yeah, we've got a year, haven't we, to train?
We've got like 51
Just under a
weeks.
year.
51 weeks to practice putting one foot in front of the other. Simple, isn't it?
Well, I've got a strategy.
Go on, Louise, very quickly then.
Just
What
go,
is your strategy?
Just go, keep going. But yeah, that's
about it, isn't it?
yeah.
And
when you get to that feeling where you can't breathe, just carry on running.
You'll be inspired by the crowd, won't you?
I hope so.
There'll be drink stations along the way. We'll have a drink.
Yeah, it'll just be water though, won't it?
A wine station halfway through. That'll be really good, won't it? Yes. Have to get some friends waiting there with the Chardonnays as you walk past.
I get Jasmine at halfway point with the Sylvie Blanc, darling. It'll be fine. No, I'll wait till I finished it.
So we're looking forward to that. Good. So everyone, that's about it today.
Oh, you meant a marathon on here.
Yeah, we got some ideas. We're not going to say anything just yet, but we got some ideas about this for next year.
Good.
I'm not going to let you in on it just yet, but we're going to come to it over the next
24-hour live stream. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I couldn't. Could we stay awake for 24 hours? It's the planning that goes into it.
Do you know, I couldn't do 24 hours. No. I don't think. Because I get tired and I get grumpy, don't I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a hard one. But no, it's not going to be a 24-hour marathon.
A day in the life of Andrew. Oh, that'd be an interesting one, wouldn't it?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. Perhaps we'll do a day in the life on TikTok, shall we?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about TikTok.
Yeah, we're going to do a day in the life on TikTok, yeah. All right, let's have our first question then, Libby, shall we? Sorry, I just simply threw that at you then. How about our first question?
Okay. I didn't have a question ready. Let me see.
You didn't? No, I'm sorry. I just threw that at you.
Okay.
Good.
Question. Let's find a question. Any minute now.
Any minute now, you're going to find one.
Just chat amongst yourselves.
Okay, can you just remove that blue thing on my screen? That blue little
thing?
box.
What blue thing?
That blue box.
This
please.
one?
Yes, please. Someone's asking about a dimmer switch works good. Yes, doesn't seem to want to work unless it's over 7,000 RPM. Doesn't reciprocate. Okay, I can really quickly jump in on this particular mention. I've just had literally something sent to me. How do we get into this? It is literally sent to me. Let me go on the overhead. This is very, very simple, very quick. Okay, this is called the Armadillo User's Guide, okay? From Joe's Gems Creations. Very quickly, Joe has kindly sent me this. We haven't even unboxed it yet, as you can see. It is a device that locates somehow. It replaces your foot pedal on your Fordham very quickly, okay? It's a very foot pedal. It's also got a button and it plugs into your foot pedal. It replaces your foot pedal, okay? Plugs into your flex shaft, your pendant motor, and it's a limiter. What you do, you set your flex shaft going, okay, at a certain speed by pushing the pedal here. When it gets to a certain speed, you click the button, okay? That sets the speed as the maximum. Then you should be able to use the foot control from 0 to that position that you click that on your flex shaft, okay? So it's more like a limiter. We've used, as someone said, we've used the rotary rheostat control that limits the speed. This is something that Joe has put together. I don't think this is commercially available yet, but I'm going to have a bit of a play around with it. It's called the Armadillo because the foot pedal, where's it gone? The foot pedal looks like armadillo. An armadillo, as you can see, is called the armadillo. It's brand new. It's not available anywhere just yet. So we're going to have a little bit of a play around with it and see what it's like. So yes, so you put your foot on here. It sets the flex shaft going. Certain speed you want to keep it at. Press the button. Then it's a limiter. The flex shaft will not go above that limit. To reset it, you just press the button again and it goes back. So this is something that we're going to have a play with over the next few weeks, and I shall be letting you know how it goes. So just let you know, it's called the Armadillo from Joe's Gems Creation. Okay, let me just quickly do it on the overhead. So if we want to take a note, the Armadillo, Joe's Gems, nice, simple user guide. I love a user guide like this. Absolutely nice and easy. Okay, so keep an eye on that over the next few days, and that hopefully then will solve your problem with your flex shaft running too fast. Yes, Louise, let's have our first question, please.
Okay, Jeff has bought a Fordham hammer hand piece.
Yeah.
And using a dimmer switch for speed control,
Yes.
but it doesn't seem to want to work unless it's over 7,000 RPM. It just buzzes and doesn't reciprocate.
Okay.
Help.
So Beth, that's basically what I was just showing you. That will limit, and you should be able to use that foot pedal up to a speed that you locate it at. Usually, I don't have to worry. If you've got a Fordham, the foot pedal is just connected. Yeah, the foot pedal is so good on these Fordhams that you don't need to have a let me see what I've got in here. Can I show you anything that I've got?
It's been cleaned, works at higher revs.
It's what? Sorry?
It's been cleaned, works at higher revs.
So you don't necessarily need to use. This is obviously, this is one of those nasty little things that spin around. And I can get this going nice and slow, as you can see. It's not even hurting my finger. Don't do this at home, kids.
And eye protection.
And eye protection.
Particularly, with any rotary instrument, particularly something like that.
Thank you. But you can get this going really, really slow. And if you've got a hammer handpiece in it, you can use the foot pedal so it literally just goes and so forth. So personally, I wouldn't worry about your dimmer switch. You can just use the foot pedal to turn the flex shaft nice and slow. But keep your eyes peeled for a little review on the Armadillo, and that should hopefully help you when it comes to the speed of things. And we'll let you know. Yes, Louise.
Okay, G2 Silver Stuff, ever made your own solder?
No, this is something that I keep getting asked. Somebody asked me the other day, emailed me, how do we make our own solder? I have problems getting it in from, I don't know, I'm not quite sure where they were. I don't bother. I don't personally bother, and I don't feel that for me it is something that I need to make, because we can buy it and you can buy it from everywhere really so cheaply. So personally, I wouldn't worry about it. There are lots of recipes out there. You need your fine silver, you need some copper, and it's the difference between the alloys that actually makes it whether it's going to be medium, easy or hard solder. So, and also for the time it takes to order your fine silver in, get your copper, melt it into an ingot, roll it out, it's going to take you far longer to do all of that process than it is to buy a nice little strip of solder. It's far cheaper to do it this way, and I would rather use my time more productively creating and making something that's going to make me money rather than simply make a piece of solder that you can buy commercially. So I don't make it. I'm sorry.
Just non-economical.
It's not economical to make it.
You.
No, exactly.
So for you,
For
sorry,
me.
what's right for you is different. I'm not saying what people should be doing, but it's not economical.
Yes, I'd
from
rather,
your point of view.
exactly. I'd rather be using my time more productively, creating or making items, doing commissions that actually brings the money in. The solder won't bring you money. Yes, Lou.
Okay. Julia is trying to make a pattern on silver by taping binding wire to the back and passing it through my rolling mill. I want to achieve a raised pattern, but it's not very good. Any suggestions? 2 mil foam?
Yeah. when you pass, okay, so let's have a think about it. Do you want to create the wire? Because usually the wire gets depressed into the surface. Okay, so then it's a negative pattern. But do you want to be able to produce a pattern from the binding wire so that it looks like where the binding wire is raised? Because if you want to do it that way, what you can do is what Louise said. You'd have to use some very thin silver.
Julia said that. I can't take the credit for. That was Julia's suggestion.
Oh, sorry.
That was part of the question.
Okay.
I didn't make an intelligent contribution. That was Julia.
So if you think about, you have, this is the section through your metal, and you pass that through your rolling mill, and here's your binding wire down here. You'd have to have another piece of metal down here that is going to be hard, okay? And then here then is the rest of your rollers that way. So when you pass them through, whatever is here gets depressed into the surface. So whatever this design is gets pushed into the silver. So it's a negative of what you've got. But if you want this design here to be shown, you'd have to have a really, really thin piece of silver. Okay, still have your backing here. Here's your mesh on here, or whatever it's going to be. This silver then has to be thin enough to allow that when the wire pushes up into the surface here, it pushes out up here. So, as you quite rightly said, you would use a piece of foam as well on top of that. So the foam is going to take the impression as well, then put that on your rolling mill. So these are your rolls here. That's a bit of a mess, isn't it, really? So hopefully then, everything that gets pushed up. Okay, so this is your really, really thin piece of metal. So anything that is down here gets pushed up into that sort of shape. And if you have a piece of round wire down here, hopefully then that will get pushed up.
Yeah, wants the pattern to appear on the top.
Yeah, so that would be it. And then you've obviously got to have your foam thick enough on the top so it allows this impression to come through. And then that has to be a hard surface on this side here. So I would use a piece of copper here, then put your binding wire on top, really thin piece of metal here. So when it pushes up, it pushes into and raises up that way. Whereas if you have a thick piece of silver on the top, it just pushes into the surface and nothing comes out the other side. So yeah, silver has to be really, really thin. But yes, you should be able to do it. Yeah, obviously it's got to be well annealed. Make sure that thin bit of silver there, you know, the thinner you can go, the better press through is going to be. Brain's not working today. Yes, Lou, let's have another question.
Okay.
But yeah, good idea. I like that idea. Because even when you use, things like texture plates, and if I show you on here, this is quite a thin piece of metal here that we've used with a texture plate. This was the area here that was on top of the texture plate. But as the metal was so thin, on the other side, you can actually still see the pattern that's actually come through from this side. So where down here, let me see if I can zoom in on this. Zoom, here we go. There we go. So on this side here, where it's raised by here, on the opposite side, it's dented. So yeah, so that has basically pushed through both sides. So one is a negative version, one's a positive version. So yes, it is possible to do it. Yes. Yes, Louise.
Okay. No. Michael says, imagine the frothiness at the end of a 24-hour live stream. I don't
We'd be
want
at
to
each other's
imagine.
throats, I think, wouldn't we?
You speak for yourself. Okay. Susan says, what chemicals do you have in your cabinet?
What chemicals? Flux, if that's a chemical. Sodium bisulfate, safety pickle, liver sulfur. Ultrasonic solution, that could be a chemical. What else have we got?
Because if you, when do you have to do? I mean, obviously we have to do COSH. If you work on your own, if you employ people, you have to do COSH.
You've got to have your data sheets.
Yeah. If you work on your own, do you have to do COSH? Do you have to keep a COSH file?
I don't know. Obviously, it's going to get
control of substances hazardous to health is COSH, and it's basically all of your
because if something happens, say you get something in your eye, and you've got to go to the doctors with it, they say, what is it? Oh, it's safety pickle. Yeah, but what is it?
What's that?
At least you've got your data sheets to take with you.
Yeah, so it's sensible to have a COSH file.
It is, and we've got the data sheets when we sell anything on the website. They can download them as well, which is very, very handy. What have we got? I just want to think of chemicals. We've got things like...
Technically even Tipex, isn't it? You've got to do a COSH sheet on Tipex and things like that.
We've got jewellery cleaner, silver polish, metal polish. Yeah, I suppose when you start to think about it, when you think of chemicals, you think, sulfuric acids and nasty things like that. But any substance can be a chemical. Like the lighter fluids, like these.
Properties, isn't it? Anything flammable, anything... potentially hazardous. You need to think about them.
We don't have anything. Pumice powder, can that be classed as a chemical? Don't know. It's a strange question, but it gets you thinking. I think
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think perhaps what you should do is, if say you have liver sulfate, you've got a metal polish, you've got your jewellery dip, for instance. Perhaps you should have all these data sheets.
Just put them in a file, isn't it? I suppose, and then you know where that file is, you know where everything is.
Yeah, so it's a very good,
keep
very
it up
good
to
question
date as well, I suppose. So. And
it gets you thinking as well.
Yeah, because it's so easy to just get a data sheet and not even think and just discard it, isn't it? Or chuck it in the bin.
We got gold plating solution. It's non-cyanide. In the early days, it used to be cyanide based. You used to have then cyanide kit in case you ingested it.
Yeah. Yeah, and Anthony said even domestic bleach needs a COSH assessment if it's used for business or work. Yeah, it's like Tipex, isn't it?
Yes, so that may be something that we can talk about as well.
Hazardous, yeah. Glue, things like that, yeah.
Super glue.
Absolutely, yeah.
Gets you thinking, doesn't it?
Really does.
It's a good question. Excellent. Okay,
liver
good.
sulfur, acetone, epoxy, red wine, nitric hydrochloric phosphorus acid etch. Do we use etchant or anything like that? The acids for the assay testing.
Yes,
they're very corrosive, obviously, aren't they? They're very hazardous.
Troy testing kits.
Yeah.
Yep, interesting. Gets you thinking. So perhaps we should make a list of everything then.
Well, we've got a COSH file, obviously, and it's kept up to date. But is it? I suppose is that you think about it every year, you look at it every year, but then as you're introducing, and things are coming on the market literally all of the time, aren't they? And obviously that's the challenge to keep on top of that.
I'm just thinking borax has got one. They can download it. What else was there? Safety pickle. What else? Yes, everything has it. That's the one. But good question. Gets you thinking. So perhaps we should all. Very good. Yeah. All check. Excellent.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Fab. Okay, Louise, have you got any questions? Yeah, got lots of questions. Vaughan Green. I want to make a satin section over half a disc. What type of tape should I mask it with? The other half will be shiny.
So I just would simply use a simple bit of masking tape. It's just have quite a few layers of this. You can snap it, you can break it, you can tear it, you can cut it. You can cut it and get nice shapes on it. If you want to do little zigzags, you can tape off a section like that, and then you can texture over it. You'd have to have quite a few layers of this, so perhaps I would put another layer and then another layer, 3 or 4 layers to make it thick enough to be resistant to perhaps, these little bad boys here. And use that. You could even use, what have I got? You could even use things like insulating tape as well, and that would be a good idea. Oh, excuse me. Because this being plastic, this is going to be a little bit more resilient perhaps. So anything like that, I wouldn't use sellotape, that's going to be too thin, but anything that's going to be thick enough, perhaps you can get that black tape that you can put underneath and join carpets together. Something like that. It's got to be nice and thick. So yeah, anything like that. And we've used masking tape quite often when we come to use the little brass brushes or the glass fiber brushes to put a satin finish on it. But that would be a great idea. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, Lily.
Good. Okay. Pauline says, is the armadillo purely for the fordham? Would it work with the Dremel, please?
No, it's got a fitting on the... Let's have a look. It won't work with the Dremel because it's got a certain fitting onto it. It says it plugs in somewhere. Let me have a look. Dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Not quite sure what's going on here. Oh, okay, so I understand, yes. So no, it has to be purely for the fordham. It won't work with the Dremel, unfortunately. But the little rheostats that you can buy that reduce the amount of power going through, like a dimmer switch that you can plug into the mains, that would work with a Dremel, definitely. Because, you know, we were using a Dremel today, weren't we? And even on the first speed, it's pretty fast.
Picked up speed as well. I'm not sure if...
Yes, it did. Yes, leave it on and it starts to increase.
Yeah. Do they all do that?
I don't know.
Perhaps we need to have a look at that.
Yes. Okay, Louise, let's have another question.
Okay. Helena says, what would be the maximum depth of silver for your torque project to still get the curvature to sit properly at neck and shoulders? Your one is roughly 5 mil deep.
I think, are you talking about the width of the torque? Because I wouldn't have thought it's going to matter too much upon the width, because you can hammer the outside edges and hammer. So there's your section through, and if you want that bit of metal to bend in that sort of direction, like this, you'd have to hammer more so on this side, say 1 to 10. So you'd hammer this 10, okay? This area by here, let's do it that way. So you'd hammer on here, say 10. Like the power of 10. You hit it with a hammer, woo, bang! Great, it's going to stretch more. Perhaps you do that 8. Perhaps by here you do that 6. Perhaps by here you do that 4. So you reduce the amount of pressure as you come down. So this area is going to curve more, a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. And hopefully that way, even though your metal may sort of taper that way, it's going to bend in that direction to come round for your torque. So I don't think it matters, to be honest, upon the width. It's how you bash it that produces that curve. I think that's what you mean, but let me know if it isn't, and I'll do my best to answer it again. But I think that's what you mean. But I think you could go up to perhaps 10 mil, 12, 15 millimeters by hammering it more so on that one edge just to get it to turn. And obviously you need to then a little bit lighter the more you come. So if it's hanging this, if it's around the neck this way, you're going to hammer the bottom here more than say the middle and the end. So it goes around you this way. Yes, Louise.
Okay.
Oh. That's not you, is it? There you are.
Oh, here I am. Susan's saying, Jeweller's Chemicals handbook needed. Let's write one. In all seriousness, if you employ people by law, you have to have a COSH file that sits along with your
accident book,
your health and safety poster policy and risk assessments. So in all seriousness, there's the health and safety executive. There's a website, isn't there? And all the information is on there to help you carry out these risk assessments and to basically make a log of your control of substances hazardous to health.
Yeah.
So I think this is just mandatory in the UK though, isn't it? But obviously, I don't know, I mean, it's good practice anyway, isn't it? But it is worth finding out what your obligations are in your part of the world, I think. But that would be our go-to place is the HSE. I
think Charles Luton-Brain's done a book, like Safety in the Workshop. But obviously, even though his family came from Merthyr, he's obviously Canadian, and he's written a book. But obviously that is very limiting upon the area that he's in, the laws and the legalities regarding that in So every country is going to be different, isn't
But
it?
it's a document in progress as well, isn't it? You can't just write it, put it on a shelf and never think about it again,
no, of
because
course
there's
not.
constantly new products and new things and new techniques being brought out, aren't there? So it's something you need to at least revisit every year, or every time you get something new in, you need to go back in and have a little look. You're adding to it, yeah. Something else I needed to say important about it. I'll come back. I'll put the I'll put the link. In the US it's MSDS sheets. Yeah, but anyway, HSC, the Health and Safety Executive, if you don't really know where to start and you haven't got anything in place, it basically tells you what your obligations are, what you need to include, and kind of like walks you through it really, and says what you need to do. So it's
Just
really
on the
good. So
safe side, isn't
it seems like a big task, but when you start it, it's like I say, it's a work in progress. It never really finishes.
Yeah, there's always something new.
Yeah, don't freak out. Just start something now, and then it's
build on
in
it.
progress, isn't it? Because it's always going to be in progress.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Davidica says, do I need to use draw tongs with a draw plate if I'm pulling the wire by hand, or can I use mole grips? I'm planning to make wire less than 1 mil in diameter.
Excellent. So yeah, mole grips are something that, yes, just happen to have a pair handy, and who doesn't? Mole grips are really good because draw tongs are great. Usually draw tongs have a little hook on the end that go into a draw bench, so the draw bench can locate on it and pull them along. But if you're doing it by hand and you simply have your draw plate fastened into a vise, for instance, or a vise by here, then I would always use something like mole grips. These sort of grips that you squeeze here and they will close on that. And yeah, I would always use these because you can get a really good hold on these to pull through. The thinner the wire, the harder it is to pull, because you're going to have to get that taper nice. You're going to have to get that taper pushing through the plate to get enough on this side to grab onto, but not too tight that you squash and fracture the little tang that's coming through when you grab onto it. So there's always a happy medium. A lot of the time, I simply used to use a pair of parallel pliers. Now, these are very, very small. I have a 6-inch pair of parallel pliers. And sometimes parallel pliers are better because the jaws are smooth, whereas the jaws on these mole grips, these close-in pliers, are serrated. And sometimes the serrations are so, raised that it actually breaks and the actual piece of metal that comes through. Sometimes parallel pliers would work better, especially the further you go down. So less than 1 millimeter, I may be inclined to use parallels because those mole grips are going to damage and perhaps break the metal as it comes through. But yeah, good question. Thank you. Yes, Lou.
Okay. Anthony says thin sheet, 0.2 millimeter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Let me just see what this piece of this little bit of copper was that I was using here. I think this is actually quite soft. This is 0.3. So if your depth of your wire, because this is the result of a texture plate, and obviously the depth of the texture plate is not that great, but if you're using like binding wire, the depth could be at least 1 millimeter. If it's thick wire, perhaps 1.3, 1.5 millimeter wire, you're going to get that depth coming up through the metal. So yeah, that's 0.3 in copper. Try it and see how you go with this. It'd be interesting to see how it comes through. And don't forget to have your bit of close cell foam on that one side. Good one. I like that. I may actually try that.
Okay. Andrew, do you have any experience with 955 Argentium platinum alloy, silver/platinum?
No, we don't use. So I got a phone call coming in. Let's cancel that, shall we? Obviously, Mary's not watching the Q&A. We don't use Argentium, do we? We don't have any experience with Argentium, unfortunately. It was Argentium the question was, wasn't it? 955 Argentium.
955
Yeah.
AG/PT alloy.
Yeah, I don't. It's like a platinum with silver. We don't have that in with some of the suppliers, so I'm afraid I would not be able to answer those questions. I know they do it so it avoids it tarnishing and getting oxides on it, but I'm afraid I don't know and I would not be able to answer that. I am sorry.
Okay, Stephen's just sent Louise pictures of my little DIY workaround for the foot pedal. I can't share my screen, I'm sorry.
Do you want to plug it in?
Have we got the doofer?
Yeah. We got the lead. It is simply, sorry, walking in front of you like that.
Do you want another question while you're doing that?
No, there we go. Are you able to?
Yeah.
Before I answer the next question, you can see. Yeah.
Have I used this in this before? I don't think I have I?
Awesome.
What's that?
How's that? Yep.
I don't know, it's just gone like that.
That's a big question. Let me answer that and I'll let you have a play.
Okay, Theodin, what burr to use to texture small cells / cloisonne in silver?
Yeah.
How to polish without losing the texture too much?
So anything like a nice small ball burr, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 of a millimetre, that's going to give you that nice surface finish, whether you simply run the burr over the surface or just as you go. Or what you could use, you could produce a stippled effect by getting perhaps an old burr, snap the end off, shape the end to a nice sharp point. Put that in your hammer hand piece and you can use that to put a nice stippled finish across. And the reason why I'm saying that, I know you can buy the fittings with the upturned diamond on the end, but the problem with that is because the fitting comes down like this, there's an upturned diamond down here. It's a great device, okay? But if you've got the edge like this, say you've got a cell like this is the cell, and you want to texture this, you can't. You're very limited to where you can actually stipple because this end is so deep, so you wouldn't be able to stipple in these areas close to the walls. But if you made your own from a nice thin burr, it'd be nice and thin like that, have a nice end to it, and that would go into your hammer handpiece. You now can stipple right close to the edges of the walls. And that's what I would use. Or, as I said, a tiny, tiny little ball burr and just make little dents with the ball burr. So it depends upon the actual finish you want. This is going to produce small little rounded bottoms. This is going to produce more sort of like a stippled effect. So you can use either, but yeah, really small ball burr is what you would need. Do you have them available, Lou?
Nothing's come through to me, Steve.
Okay, no worries.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Are you sending it to louise@andrewandlouise.co.uk?
We'll have a look.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why they're called mole grips. They're not for grabbing moles, no. But they're called mole grips. Perhaps people did used to grab moles them back in the day. I really don't know.
Okay.
That's another question.
I'm just a hobbysmith. As solder paste has a very limited life, is there a way to make it myself when needed?
No. Don't use solder paste. Sorry. People do use solder paste. I would only use solder paste, and you can buy like a 30-gram solder paste. That's just too much in silver. That will last you many, many years, and by that time it's dried out. But you can buy small little 3 grams and 5 grams of solder paste. Personally, I would only use solder paste for the tiniest little jump rings. Perhaps you're soldering and jumping on a pendant, something like that. I would never use solder paste for any serious soldering, like soldering ring shanks, soldering rings together. It's too brittle, it's too porous. You're going to get little bubbles in the actual solder joint because of the flux that's mixed up with it. But if it all dries up, a lot of people will scrape it out. They will mix it with lavender oil, then put it back into the tube, and that then should...
Why lavender oil?
I don't know. I've never done it, but I remember reading it somewhere. People do use lavender. Wouldn't it smell lovely then, wouldn't it, when you come to solder? Oh, you'd be so relaxed and chilled out, wouldn't you? Have to try that. But lavender oil...
You'll have to use solder paste then, wouldn't you, to try it?
Yeah. So I personally would only use your solder sticks, your solder... What am I doing laughing at? Yeah, except...
Just get the adjustable saw frames out while we're at it, shall we?
Not go there. You got a good picture to post, haven't you? You going to post that?
I might. Is that the door then?
No, it's next door. Yeah, so personally, lavender, it's low toxicity. Yeah,
but then surely just oil without the lavender would be...
They'll set fire. The oil would actually set fire if you have like engine oil or 3-in-1 oil. It's going to go... It's going to set fire.
The lavender's been put in some sort of carrier oil, isn't it?
No, I think it's actual oil, isn't it?
Well, actual just oil from...
Isn't it?
I thought don't they put it in something?
I don't know.
I
don't know, but apparently lavender oil is what you put in with your dried out solder paste. But the frothing. But don't buy solder paste if you can. Once you've used it, don't buy any more unless you're soldering the tiniest of jump rings. It's only good for little tiny jump rings. If you're soldering backs of ring shanks, rings, whatever it is, try not to use it. It is not, personally, it is not strong enough. Your solder joints aren't going to be very strong. There's going to be tiny little pit holes across it, and it's going to be no good.
It's nasty.
It's just very nasty. Shouldn't be allowed. Okay. One of those products that personally I don't think should be out there. But anyway, that's your opinion. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Should I have another question?
I have another question. That's not going to make me too frothy.
Okay. I'm just about to buy a kilo bar of silver for lost wax casting. Should I add copper 92.5/7.5 to make sterling, or is pure silver better?
It depends upon you. Would you think about the cost? Think about the malleability of the pieces. Think about how it's all going to work. Are you going to be able to sell more of those items by saying it's all fine silver, or the people don't mind and don't care whether it's fine silver or sterling silver? So if I was casting in silver, I would cast always in sterling silver, because for me, I don't feel that my clientele would appreciate the fact that it is fine silver, because nearly every silver piece of jewellery out there is sterling silver, and that is what people expect. What do you think?
I was reading that. I wasn't listening to what word you said. Sorry.
So yeah, if you buy a bar,
I'm still thinking about gosh.
Gosh, if you buy 1,000 parts and you got to add another 750 parts. Is it 925? 75 parts, isn't it? So you've got to add, for every 1,000 grams, you've got to add 75 grams of copper. It will make it go further. It's not going to be as tarnish resistant as a fine silver would, but that would be my argument. Are my customers going to worry about it? Am I going to be able to sell more because it's fine? Am I going to be able to have those castings and then solder something onto it if you need to, but then you have to solder fine silver onto it? You can't get fine silver solder, so you're going to have to fuse it. So I personally don't see the benefit of it. I would always use sterling. So assess what your clientele wants and the construction going forward. Is it going to work?
Okay. Yes, Janet says, gosh, I can't recall anything I've ordered from a supplier coming with data sheets.
They don't necessarily come with data sheets, but upon the product,
it should be on the back, so it'll have like flammable or like the skull and crossbones sometimes, isn't it? So.
Yeah. But on our store, if you buy Flux, there's a download to download the cost sheet. So it is there. It is there.
But if it doesn't come with a cost sheet, then you would really need to put your own together, wouldn't you?
Find what the product that it is and find a website that has it and then download it from that website. They should already be available to download.
It's good to have a quick reference as well, because a cost sheet can be really, obviously you need to read them, but the fundamentals of cost really are identify the hazard, isn't
I
it?
love how you know all this.
No, you identify the hazard,
Yeah.
and then you say who's at risk from potential hazard. So is it the person using it? Is it the person in the vicinity? Are the members of staff? Is it the public? Who are the people? Do you really need to use the thing? Is there a safer alternative? What are you going to do to... What are the risks then? You assess the risk.
Do it.
Can you mitigate the risk? What do you do? Eye protection, PPE, mask. What are you going to do to protect you or other people? Yeah.
And what happens should you get it in your eye or in your skin or and all that sort of thing as well, isn't it?
So is it flammable? Is it noxious to breathe in? Yeah.
And what do you do if you get it in your eye? It tells you then, doesn't it? What you can do, and then seek medical advice.
How do you control the risk?
Yeah.
And if you can't get around using the thing, what are you going to do?
Oh, I love it when you talk technical.
Yeah, but that's just the very, very basic. It's all on the HSE website anyway, so it's good to just kind of like when you've got a new product, do that so that you know in your head,
what to
and
do.
you've got something to refer to quickly then, haven't you?
Yeah.
Rather than wading through. I mean, obviously the full cost sheets are important, but it's good to just have a quick reference.
Susan's loving it. Preaching. Louise is preaching. Yes, she's very good, isn't she?
Well, no, but I am all about health and safety, isn't it?
You
because
are
it's too late, isn't it, when you've breathed in something nasty or you've got something in the eye, and so it brings in your PPE as well, because then you're thinking about what you're going to use, and you probably got it all. Obviously, you've got eye protection. You should have sort of masks or things like that. So it's just knowing what to use and when, really, because I think we're all guilty of probably being a little bit blasé and.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, and just thinking I'm just going to do this quickly.
Without thinking.
Yeah.
My glasses are on the other side of the workshop. I won't bother getting them.
Especially if it's things you're using every day. And if you've just got a file you can sit down and look at when you've got 5 minutes and a cup of coffee, you can remind yourself of what you're actually dealing with.
I do
can't
love
you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my...
It's very good. I'm impressed.
Well, it's important, isn't it?
It is.
Because it's your health at the end of the day.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So yeah, if you haven't got data sheets, Janet, they are all out there somewhere, and maybe just do your own investigation. Because I know some dental practices would have something on the wall. So the things that were really dangerous or really hazardous, you'd have it there just to look at quickly, and just a constant reminder of
that's a good idea.
Of the things that you really need to be careful of. I mean, obviously be careful of all of them, but the particularly hazardous ones, it's good to remember, isn't it?
Very good. Yes.
Okay. How far did we get? Where are we? It just jumped then. Domestic bleach, yes. Cooksons.
Essential oils are pure. There we go.
Oh. Yeah, HSE guidelines it'll take you through the process of how to do a risk assessment, and it's quite straightforward. It's just knowing what to include, and it's all the information's there. It's brilliant. Okay. Could you please recommend a book for using hand push engravers for jewellery?
I can. It's written by the Nag Press. Let me have a quick look, mate. Let me just try and have a look a second. It's written by the Nag Press. I'll tell you now. I've got it at home. Nag Press engraving. Not on the screen, is it? No. I'll just put engraving. There we go. The Nag Press engraving. There we go. That is what you want. You want this. This is Engraving on Precious Metals, written by A. Britton and P. Morton. Really, really good book. It's written by the Nag Press. Go and buy it. It is really good. And that is all for push engraving. That's a book that I've got. It's quite an old-fashioned, when you look at it, it's all sort of hand-drawn diagrams, but obviously being push engraving, they don't change. So the gravers now are the same as what they were 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago. So it's a very good book. Find it. ABE Books. Abe Books is a very good site. You can get a lot of things quite cheap on there. go check him out. So that was what it was. That is it there. Let me show you again. iPad, there we go. That's what I would definitely recommend, engraving on precious metals. Excellent. Let's have another question, Lou.
Okay. Susan's do a chemical book. Yeah, I think the problem I can see with that is where there's too much automation with health and safety, people don't look at it, do they? Unless you make a conscious effort to update your COSH file and actually open it and revisit it. If everything's just defaulted,
yes,
we don't think about it enough, do we?
No.
I think, but no, unless you make a conscious effort to update it, and if you just buy a book and put it on the shelf, how often are you going to really look at it? Is the thing, isn't it?
But if you actually take the time to, I've got borax.
If you have to sit down and write it and think about it.
On borax?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Well, just perhaps sit at your bench and go, okay, there's safety pickle, there's borax, there's lighter fuel in there. Okay, so those are things I need to do. So then spend 10 minutes, go and get those sheets, and then perhaps buy something new. Liver sulfur. Okay, that's something else. And if you do it, as Louise says, as you buy it, as you get the sheets in, you'll be more inclined to look at it rather than just having a book there for the time that you need.
Yeah.
And is it going to be the same? Is the chemicals going to be applicable in the US as they are in Australia?
It would be a bit of a tone, wouldn't it? It would be
perhaps too massive.
Yeah.
But if you buy the actual item and get the cost sheet for that specific item, you can be sure that your cost file is completely up to date and relevant to what you've actually got as well.
Yeah, I think if you bought a book, it would just go on the shelf and gather dust.
Well,
and
Don't worry,
it's got to be a work in progress. It's a tick box then, I think, isn't it?
Absolutely.
As lovely as it would be to, it would make life easier, but I'm not sure it would necessarily
be advantageous.
It's not in your interest, is it? Because you've got to be interested in the health and safety. I'm just a bit of a health and safety nerd, aren't I? So anyway,
you always analyse things, don't you?
No, I do, and I think about it's got to work, isn't it? It's got to be a working document. Anyway, what platform do you recommend for selling low volume handmade jewellery? Website, Etsy, etc.
Okay, so everyone's saying at the moment don't use Etsy because their rules are changing all the time. I think the free websites that you can get things like Wix, can't you? W-I-X. You can then use Wix to help you do your websites. You can use Squarespace. There's loads of people giving you discounts on Squarespace on the web. They're very good. You can also use their payment providers onto your site for low volume. You may find that it may be a little bit more expensive because you're doing low volume, the percentage that they take from it, but at least it's one way you can start. I've never used those because I've got a bit more knowledge when it comes to things like coding and websites and things like that. So you often use something called WordPress that we get installed upon the websites. There are loads of templates out there for WordPress. Then what you can do is have plugins for WordPress. So then we would have a plugin called WooCommerce, and that enables you then to do all your descriptions, your prices, your sales, everything associated to that. And with WooCommerce, all you need then is a PayPal account, and you then can send everyone then through to PayPal to pay. And also through PayPal, people can use PayPal and also use credit cards as well. And then you can start looking at things like Stripe as well. So if you're technical and you want to spend money in your time on how things looking good, WooCommerce on a WordPress site. Other than that, if you just want to set it up and don't necessarily worry about how things go and want somebody else to take care of the payments, something like Squarespace or Wix would be ideal. Yes, Lou.
Good. I have some photos of Stephen's, but don't go on just yet because I don't want to show his email address or anything or
fine,
breach any data protection. So let me just, I don't know what I'm looking at, so don't show it yet.
I'm not. You're okay. I'm not showing.
Okay. Sorry, it's just...
No, it's okay.
It's on its way. Any minute now.
Any minute. Is it coming through? Is it like in the old Spectrum days? Yeah, it comes up line by line. Remember, you used to spend ages going through it, waiting for this picture, and you go, oh, that's a lot of rubbish, that. That's like when web pages used to change over, didn't it? It was awful. It wasn't worth it. I think really, sorry.
I don't know what I'm looking at, though.
Laptop, yeah.
Yeah, but I
I've no idea what that is.
it's a forward and foot pedal.
Is it? Oh, okay, cool. What's he done? Who's this? Phil?
Steve.
No, Steve. What's Steve done?
I don't know.
I don't know. What have you done, Steve? It's a forward and foot pedal. I don't know what you've done.
There's another photo.
Go
Hang
on then.
Well, you'll have to come off that so I can.
I've never actually opened.
Am I clear?
Yes, I've never actually opened up a forward and pedal to actually be able to look at it, to be honest. So I don't know.
Any minute now.
Oh, here we go. A bit of time. Yes. Are we there?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is something else. Ah, okay. So that's your foot pedal. Okay. What's that blue thing on top? I don't know.
I was hoping you'd know.
No.
A physical limiter, Claire says.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, what's the previous picture? Can you go back onto the previous picture?
No.
No.
I don't think. Well, I can't. If you have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So obviously it's a physical limiter, so it stops the pedal going down, I presume, because that would be quite a good idea, wouldn't it? So is that like on a cam and there's a piece of plastic going through that you can alter so it bottoms out, perhaps, is it?
A modification to make have a speed control dial in addition to its native purpose.
Oh wow! Oh, Stephen, send me some details of that.
Well, he's just sent the photos.
But send me some details on how you've done it, and we'll have a look, shall we?
I added only thermal paste and a couple of screws.
Oh wow! All right, we'll have a look at that. That seems really
Cool.
good. Yeah, send us a bit more information, and yeah, we'll have a look at that. See if we can do something about that.
Okay, can I come off
Looks
this
good.
now?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. You're not showing my screen now.
No,
Good.
I'm on you and me.
Fine.
Super sauce.
Good. Okay.
Very good. Do you have one last question?
Oh my gosh! Look at the time.
A couple more questions, shall we? The people are talking about sort of like a database of chemicals with the cost sheets, which sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? But I think it'd be so much work to do, wouldn't it?
How many products are out there is the thing, isn't it?
That's it.
Anthony says your chemical supplier should provide all the data sheets you should need. If you're not sure, contact the company you purchased your chemicals from and they will provide the appropriate data sheet. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I think that'd be a good idea. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. So everything that's on At the Bench has got a link to the cost data sheet.
Yeah, it's in the description underneath there. You can download the cost sheet, yes.
Yeah. Fab.
Yes. Good.
Okay,
Excellent.
good.
One last question then.
Yeah, thank you, Anthony.
Very good.
Okay. Any more?
If not.
Christine says hollow pearls need a little hole in them if soldered to another element. How to prevent pickle to be trapped inside? I tried flushing several times but still have blue crystals blooming out after a while.
Okay, there's not much you can really do. I think once you've soldered it, let it cool, perhaps get a little bit of beeswax just to put over the hole. Then you could put that then into your pickle, and provided it isn't too hot, it's not going to melt the beeswax. You could use things like plasticine or some blue tack, or if you've got some thermolock, warm that up with a torch so it's pliable, push it over the hole, and that will stop anything going into the hole if you use your safety pickle. And that's what I would do. If you do get any little blue crystals, just try and flush it out. Perhaps get a syringe with a narrow nozzle on it, fill it up with water and squirt it into the hole and flush it out a few times. That would be the best thing to do, but the best thing is not to get it in there in the first place. So to cover the hole up before it goes in the pickle, that is what I would do. How's that?
Yeah. Valerie, I get the meds sheets, read them, and I still don't understand it. Okay, Valerie, have a look on the, well, if you're not in the UK, it should still help you understand COSH and data sheets anyway. If you have a look on the HSE website. I'm buffering. I didn't know. Let me just, let me go, where is it? What will it be under? COSH. COSH Basics, there we are. And it'll show you how to carry out COSH assessments. Because there is a lot of information on the data sheets, isn't there?
Yeah, sometimes I wouldn't say there's too much, but they do use a lot of
there has to be a lot of information
technical jargon on it that a lot of us don't understand.
But if you look at the HSE, it'll tell you exactly what you're looking for then and how to unpick it, basically. Yeah. So, yeah.
That would be good.
And if you are ever in any doubt about how to use a product safely, if you just go to the manufacturers, they'll be able to advise you. They'll be only too happy to advise you, I'm sure. Totally. To make sure you're using it safely. Yeah, excellent. Excellent, well done. Thank you, Sue, for your question, because it's really brought up some quite important discussions, isn't it? Because we all do take things for granted. We buy a product, we use it, and we say, oh, all we're going to need is eye protection for that. But actually, when you heat it up, it's like solder paste. You get the fumes off solder paste, and they are very nasty to breathe in. But you think solder, there's going to be nothing come off it. But solder paste does. Yeah. It's like, and someone was saying about the safety pickle here. Even when you put your item that's hot in your safety pickle, you do get fumes. You don't really think about where those fumes go. In a workshop. There is. So I think that's what we will do as well. I think we shall sit down with what we've got, make a list of all the products that we got, and make sure we've got data sheets for them. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to review it, does it? That's the thing. It's very good. But thank you very much for bringing that up, Susan. Yeah. Is it Susan Satin? Yeah. Yeah. What chemicals do you have in your workshop? Yeah, it's kicked off quite an interesting discussion and hopefully been quite thought-provoking for lots of us, So let us know what you're doing. And also, you must make sure that if you do have some nasty chemicals that very hazardous, locked cupboard as well, and lock and key, that's always very important as well. Yeah. Good one. Good. I love it. Yeah. I'll work on an example of Julia's chemical safety handbook. Yes, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's all on the heat. It'll tell you exactly harmful substances, the hazards, what you have to do. Find out what the health hazards are, deciding on how to prevent harm to health, that's your risk assessment, providing control measures to reduce harm to health, making sure that they're used, because obviously if you employ people and they're not wearing their eye protection, you just have to keep on at them, don't you? You just have to insist, write it in a contract. You're contracted to wear your eye protection, and they have to then. That's the condition of their employment. I know there's just no two ways about it, is there? Yeah, thank you. Making sure they're used, keeping all control measures in good working order, information instructions, yes, health surveillance, and planning for emergencies. So what you're going to do if you do splash something that you shouldn't in your eye. Yeah. Very good. Excellent. Good. It's something that we really do need to look at, and thank you very much. It's always good to have an update, isn't it? It is. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Trip hazards. Oh my God, Claire, I hadn't even thought about trip hazards. Your pickle pot, you've got that there. That's full of blooming acid, and you've got a. It's wrapped around my leg. Your table leg, not your. I asked. It's wrapped around the table leg, right into the socket that's attached to. Yeah, I know that, but it could still potentially. Yes. Oh, I won't sleep tonight now after this. Excellent. So join us next Monday for our Lightbox workshop. Emails will be going out tomorrow. Paid members get it included in their workshop. If you want to watch it live, you still got to sign up. You'll be having the code in your emails. If you're not a paid member of At the Bench, it's £15 to watch. Simple as that. If you pay to watch the workshop, you'll get it for life. If you're a paid member of At the Bench, you get it for as long as your membership is active. It's as simple as that. Good. Anything else to say, darling? I don't think so. No. Good. Look out. It's Halloween week today, is it? Ish. Is it a week today? Week tomorrow, week today. So yeah. It's a week tomorrow. Yes. There's nothing planned, have we? Trick or treaters. Staying at home eating sweets. Yeah, not answering the door. Not answering the door. Yes. So anyway, keep a lookout on social media for the workshop information, and also keep an eye out in your emails from us regarding the workshop as well. Super duper. Louise, what are we having for tea? Bubble and Squeak.
Oh,
Yesterday's
Bubble and Squeak.
leftovers.
Yeah,
Hey.
free meal.
Yeah.
It's gotta be a good one, isn't it? Okay, Louise, let's say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Everyone, take care. We will see you from next Monday. No Q&A next Monday. It's a workshop, and if you're a regular viewer of the Q&A, it's a fortnight today. So we'll see you next week for the
Workshop.
Lightbox workshop. Everyone, take care. Bye bye.